Hey there, home theater fans. Todd with avnirvana.com. I'm here at CEDIA 2025 hanging out with Phil Shea. Phil and I have known each other for years, and we're finally reconnecting. It's great to see you, Phil.
Yeah, Todd, we got something fun to talk about.
Oh, yes, we do. That's exactly why I'm here. The second this got launched, I was in contact with you guys. Like, I got to see this at CEDIA.
Yeah, so the Truex 90A new soundbar, it's a Dolby Atmos. It does have Aural 3D.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
We'll get into that. One thing that makes this unique is it uses Yamaha's beam driver technology. This is something we developed back in 2004 with the YSP1. Some of your listeners have seen some of our old soundbars where they had beams, we can move sound back and forth. Well, we have that with overhead speakers. We use the beam drive. So we have 6 speakers on either side. You know, see on the picture up here.
Okay.
And what that allows us to do is we can adjust the beam back and forth, because most sound bars, you know, Atmos sound bars, just put a speaker in there and kind of,
It's fixed.
yeah, hope enough sound bounces off. By the time the beam gets down to where the listener is, it's not really a discrete track anymore.
Sure.
It's better than nothing, but it's not this. What we can do is, first of all, we adjust the beam so we're getting the reflection to the listening area. Then we have another adjustment called focal length. So if I know the difference to the ceiling and to where this sound bar is, it's 7.5 feet. I go focal length 7.5 feet. What that does is it focuses the beam so it's at its smallest when it hits the ceiling.
This
So
is all customized in the home when you bring this into the home.
Yeah. This is
The
all.
adjustment.
The adjustment is all just. You just do it by ear, because it's the angle you do by ear.
Okay.
Because you can clearly hear where it's loudest and where it's softest. And then once you get at the angle, then you just, oh, that's about 7 feet. Then you do the focal length, and now you have something that's pretty darn discrete. It's approaches having a discrete speaker overhead. It's as close as you can get to a virtual, but it's very believable.
Right. So if this isn't making sense, I guess you can imagine putting a mirror up on your ceiling and eventually moving it around so you can see the soundbar. That's basically what you're doing here with this beaming.
Absolutely. That's a good analogy right
And
there.
what frequencies are we talking about that you're beaming? Because low frequencies are more difficult to reflect than upper.
And I'm gonna say it's in around 100 and up.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
So the lower end is left to other parts of the
So we
speaker.
we have 4 custom-built drivers, full range drivers, and then 3 tweeters in here.
Okay.
As well. Now, one benefit to this right here, let's back up, and we start getting up into these premium sound bars and the higher prices, they start getting bigger and bigger because they focus on sound.
Yes.
And so they get bigger. Well, now a tabletop option is off the table.
Yeah,
Off the table. So we want to be able to keep this as a tabletop option, you know, as well as wall mount itself. So we redid the speakers, and most people use we call them racetracks.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say like a racetrack.
Yeah.
Like an oval that's been
or a
down.
square that's been sanded off on the edges.
Sure.
The problem when you start moving it, then they're not real stiff in the corners. So you start getting some vibration in the cone itself because it can't hold that shape. So ours is more of a I shape is what we call it. So it holds its shape even when we're putting energy.
Does it have an edge for it, like an eye, or?
Yeah, no, the whole thing is like an eye. You know, some people they'll put a big, racetrack shape because you get more surface area and a little more SPL, but you're sacrificing sound quality with that.
And so there's 3 of those.
Yeah, 3 of those across here, and then you have
Across here.
4 tweeters. So it's left, center, right. So it's
Right. So you have an LCR array, and then you have your up-firing
upfiring.
drivers that are adjustable, which for some reason I guess I knew that, but I didn't realize because that's got to be unique.
It is because it's the Yamaha technology that's doing this. And it's cool. It's something that we developed over 20 years ago. We dusted off the engineering manual and drop it in here, and it's for Atmos and overhead speakers.
It only makes sense.
It's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody's room's different, placement's different, height of placement is different, so that matters.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And when you go through the menu system, it's a pretty basic setup menu, on-screen setup menu. It asks you for ceiling height. It actually for the height of where it's mounted. Is it mounted down low or is it mounted on a mantle? And that determines how far we are where the focal length and all that stuff's supposed to be. So
And then you have a matching wireless subwoofer as well.
yeah, so the subwoofer that comes with this, it's got patented technology. We did some more patents on that thing, and it's called a symmetrical flare port. So it's a downfiring subwoofer. So, when at the opening of the port, there's always flares. You flare it out so you don't get the chuffing. But the inside is just kind of, sometimes you put a flare inside, but it's different than what's on the outside. So the outside, the flare opens up, and then you have 1.5 inches to the base plate.
Sure.
On the inside, normally it was just an empty box and you just hope the air goes in and out. But what we found out by doing it that way, we're getting a lot of eddies internally in the box.
Which you don't want.
So now we put a base plate inside the cabinet. That's the same distance to the base plate on the outside of the cabinet. That's why I call it symmetrical. And so now when you look at the air movement that's in there, the eddies don't develop. It's just nice straight airflow in and out. It also allows us to put a little more power into it. So we can get a little more output out of it because we don't have to limit it, when it starts breaking up, on a lesser subwoofer, we can put more energy into it and get more sound pressure out of it.
So it's wireless. Does it have any placement restrictions? Because some subwoofers, not to name names of companies, but if you read the manual carefully, it will say front wall only. Does this have a little bit more leniency in terms of where you can place it in a room?
It kind of does, but with anything, it's not a subwoofer. It's 100 hertz or 80 hertz on down, something like that. So it is going to be a little bit directional.
Yeah.
In the manual, it kind of recommends a front corner and diagonal into the room. But it's downfiring, so it's a little bit more forgiving. So we can move it around the room.
So corner loaded.
And it actually is a little bit more forgiving because of the 3D sound. The sound field that we're reproducing when you're watching a movie or music that's been upmixed, it's a huge sound field. So now we can kind of move the woofer around a little bit. It's not quite as...
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Along the backside, in terms of connectivity, is this one HDMI port only for eARC and ARC?
Yeah, there's eARC and ARC coming down. And so all your streaming on your monitor and stuff like that will all come down through here. But it does have one additional port going in. So, we're demonstrating with a kaleidoscope inside there. So we have that running into here. But if all your sources are coming from the monitor, we just use the eARC.
So you can do one source,
one additional
up to one additional source, which is nice.
Or plug it into the TV and then let the eARC bring it back down to the unit.
Okay, so I'd like to wrap this up talking a little bit about Aura 3D because, Aura 3D was recently acquired by Gora Dynamic, and their kind of push is to enter into this kind of market, which is really interesting. And it's kind of been one of those things where they talked about it, but nothing really happened for a while. But I know behind the scenes they've been working really hard to make it happen. And now Aura 3D, this is the first soundbar on Earth. With Aura 3D.
It's funny because when you go to their website, we've been checking out, and because we knew this was coming, and it says Aura 3D for soundbars coming soon, and we knew who they were talking about. And so now it's
really exciting.
Yeah, it's really fun stuff. So right now, basically, if you're not using native Aura content, then we use the upmix, the Auramatic version of it, and then with the overhead speakers that we have, then we can get some pretty exciting results.
Yeah, so typically in AVRs, if Aura's in the AVR, they have something called Auramatic, which is used to upmix other codecs like Dolby codecs and DTS codecs, and they have something in here that's probably basically the same thing, but they're calling it something different, I think, in the soundbar.
Yeah,
I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it's in the marketing material. It's named something different, but one of the reasons why I'm so excited about this is in a lot of the high-end processors that I've had my hands on, Aura is the best upmixing option.
Yeah, when it's set up right, because there's a lot of adjustments on the 3D and their room size and the amount of effect and stuff like that. But once you tweak it in, it's beautiful.
It's really beautiful, and even for upmixing, it's my preferred upmix of my system at home.
Yeah.
And so I think it's awesome.
That's very common. That's
very common.
The most preferred upmix. Is the Aura 3D. Yeah.
So it's exciting to see it land here.
Yeah.
And I heard it in there on demo. It sounded really nice.
Yeah.
So this is a great launch for you.
Yeah, we're excited about it. It's been a while since we've had a MusicCast soundbar, for our MusicCast ecosystem too. So
Yeah.
this is all part of our MusicCast multi-room system as well. So
To finish things up, can we talk pricing?
we can.
Okay. What does the soundbar and
The soundbar?
yeah, how much does
Okay. So we're looking at the entire system with the surround speakers, the charging cradles, for the wireless speakers.
oh, wait, hold on.
We
Hold the
didn't talk-
phone.
yeah, let's talk-
Hold the phone. We didn't talk about this. Wireless speakers so that you don't need to plug into a power source other than a battery?
Yeah, the batteries in here, they're 12-hour wireless. We have lower models of the X series, the True X series. It's going for apartments and condos where people can't run wires to the walls.
Yeah.
So they use these little speakers, and we have smaller ones that are available too. They're all battery powered. So you can use this as a Bluetooth speaker. You hit the button and it's a Bluetooth speaker. You can go to the kitchen, do your cooking, listen to music. When you come in to watch a movie, you hit it back to surround. The button just goes back to surround. And then you set it on the coffee table alongside the couch. Now you have a discrete surround sound.
Are they wall mountable?
They are wall mountable. They have a quarter 20. We have them wall mounted in there just
Yeah,
for
right.
the convenience of it. It has a USB-C on the back of it. So if you wall mount it, you're probably going to want to get a cable into it or something like that. But if you don't wall mount it, then that's where the charging cradle comes in. So this can be sitting on your coffee table, and you set that on top, and that's got the USB-C on the back of it. So that will charge that up.
That's very cool.
And then this is all water resistant and dust and sand resistant. It's an
Six.
six.
IPX6?
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah.
Something along those lines?
Yeah.
Or 7?
So at our house, this goes to the beach with us.
Uh-huh.
So she grabs the small. We have the smaller ones there. She grabs that, throws that in the beach bag, and we head down there.
And then you come home if you want to get a little more surround sound.
blow the sand out of it, and we're good to go. So
That's really neat. Okay.
kind of cool.
I like that. I like that a lot. So for the whole system,
Okay. For the entire system, everything that you need, it's got the subwoofer, the soundbar, the speakers, the charging cradle. It's $3,500.
okay.
We can do it with an option without the surround speakers. I think it's $2,800.
Uh-huh.
Kind of in that area, because some of the integrators, when they're putting this stuff in, this might be on a wall, on a fireplace, TV setup, into a great room. So there's no place for surround speakers anyway, and so they just want the soundbar. But what the benefit is, we have the overhead speakers, so you get a 3.2
Right.
surround system, so you still get a huge front sound stage,
Yeah.
even without the surround speakers. So there is an option to buy it without, but ideally you get the whole system.
And the soundbar and the sub they ship together as a package.
Yeah.
There's no option for just the soundbar.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, so the sub and the soundbar is where you start.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on a really cool launch.
Yeah,
Thanks
for
a lot of
coming
fun
by.
to have this
Yeah.
coming out.
it's fun to have new stuff, and it's
Yeah, it is.
it's just fun to talk about. Wow, that's neat.
Yeah, it's definitely very cool. Folks, I highly suggest checking this guy out. I really enjoyed the sound quality, and it's really neat to have a new player on the market with something unique inside of it.
Right. Yeah, it's a Yamaha unique. Yamaha invented the soundbar. We're the first manufacturer of a soundbar as we know it today, a powered soundbar.
Wow, I did not know that.
Before the YSP1. Before that, there were passive soundbars that you hook an AV receiver into to drive all the power. But the YSP1 was the world's first soundbar,
There you go.
and we're coming
Now
down to it.
Yeah, your world's first with Aura 3D.
That's right.
Excellent. All right, well, thanks for your time today.
Right.
Really appreciate it. And everyone out there, we have a lot of content coming from the show floor, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, but more importantly, come become a member of our home theater and AV forum at avnirvana.com.